Alright, so welcome back again. So in this particular session on data classes and Pydantic, we're trying to see how to use a nested data, right? That is, in case your data is nested in Pydantic and also in data classes. So let me show you what I mean. So let's say I have my data and my class. We are using book for now, or let's say book, and then this is, let's go with this. So from Pydantic, import base model. So we have my base model, right? And then I have a class that has, say, books, right? And then books goes with my base model. And then let's say the book has the name as we did earlier on, which is a string, and then the name of the price of the book, which was a float. But we have it is nested with another class. So let's say author, and this author is having the author model, right? So something like this. So how do you work with it? So in that case, I'll have to go with my class called author, and this is also another base model, Pydantic model, which has the author name, or author name, and then this name is a string, and then let's say the age of the author, right, which is also an integer. So this is nested within this, right? So how do you work on this? Something like this. So I have author, which is nested inside this, and in case I want to use create an instance of this, I will have to do something like my book. So let's say author, it's going to be author, and then I'll pass in the name of the author. So author name, which in our case, the author name is going to be Paul, right? And then the age of Paul, which we don't know, is, say, Paul was 65, something like that. This is the author class or the author instance, and I want to nest it inside my book, right, which is going to be my books. Then I can just pass in the name, which is, so romance. It can be any name. I'm just using what comes in my head. This is 40, right? And I can just go with my author. It's going to be my author, right? If I go with this now, everything has been initialized. If I go with the BK, we have this structure with the author also nested within it. And then in case I dump it, so we have my model dump. See that the data has been nested, right? So this is nested in case you want to see it well. You can also do dump JSON. There's also dump JSON. I think there's dump JSON, if my memory serves me right. Right, yeah, this is a long way, but you can see that this data is nested, right? So we have the name, the price, which belongs to the book, and then we have the author. Now, with Pydantic, this is quite easy, right? So in case I want to traverse it, in case I want to traverse this, I can just go with my bk.author, right? So I get the author class, and I can just go with bk book.author.age, and I can see that we are able to move from book to author to age, right, which is very good. So how do you implement this feature in data classes, right? So how do you do the same thing in data classes? So I have this data, because I have this, and I want to unpack it to create another instance. So let's say I want to create instance from my JSON file, right, or dictionary, whatever. Can be JSON, can be dictionary. So in case I'm going to go to book 2, and then I can just go with my books. Then because we can do unpacking, I can unpack this data here. So let me pass it as my data. I can pass it here as data, and then this will work, and automatically it is going to unpack them more, you can see that author has been assigned respectively. If I change this one to, let's say this is Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter, something like this, and I go back here, you can see that Harry Potter has been, the book has been nested well, right, respectively. This is a very nice feature from Pydantic, which is very useful in case you have a JSON data that is very nested. And with this, you can actually go with bk2.author. Let's say author name, and then you can traverse it out of the box. How do you do this in data classes, right? So we can do that with post init, right? So how do we do that? So it's using data classes for nested data, right? So using data classes to that. So we will just define the same thing we did above. I'm going to go with the from data classes, import data class, right? And then there's also as Dict. And then what do? I can just go with my class. Let's go as book DC again, right? Or DC for data class. Then I can just go straight away with the same thing. Let me copy the class and then define it. So I'll copy this to, I just modify it, right? So copy this. This is author DC book data class, right? And then I don't need this. I don't need the base model here because I'm using data classes. And in case I want to nest it, I will just have to pass it here. So we have my data class, and then the same thing here, data class, right? These are the two. Now, how do I work with it? So I just go back again, say bk dc1, and I can just go with my book DC. I will have to first of all define my author, so author DC for data class, and then this will be my author DC, and I'll pass in the author name. So let's keep the name of the author as, let's say, Enoch, and then the age of Enoch is the age of every year, 365, right? It is not a string, it is a float or an integer, something like that. And then I can now pass in the name. Let's pass in the name of, say, book of Enoch. It's a nice book. And then we have the price, which is $4.40. And then you can just go with the author, which is going to be author DC. If I go with this, everything works. bkdc1, so it has been nested well, just like above, right? Because these are all data classes. And I can just go with bkdc1 dot name. We get it. bkdc1 dot author is working. Can we traverse it over? If I go with age, is working, right? So we can nest it within another one and it's going to work. But what if we have our data and then we want this nested data and we want to unpack it, right? So I'm going to say we are going to create an instance from the nested data. How do we do that, right? So if I do that with this option here, so let's call it as my book DC, and I do the unpacking of my data, it works, right? Perfect, out of the box, right? And then you can see that it's able to work the same way data classes works, right? The same way Pydantic also work. So if I give this one as, say, bk3, and I just go with my bk3 dot author, perfect. If I go with the age, see that now it does not work anymore, right? So it will work for the first two instances. So we had the Harry Potter, the name and the price for the book, it works. It's able to work for the author, but it failed to traverse over, right? Unlike in Pydantic that you could traverse to the next layer, right? So if I go with age, it's failing. So Dict object has no attribute age, right? With Pydantic, we could easily do that. We could easily traverse, but with data classes, with Pydantic, with data class, we can do that if we nested, if we initialize the classes like this, and then we call it like that. But if you're unpacking from data, from this nested data, you can only traverse one layer. You cannot move beyond it, right? It's going to give you this Dict object has no attribute, right? You cannot do this that we did in Pydantic. So how do you implement this same feature in data classes, right? So that is where the post init comes inside. So the solution is the post init. So this is a dictionary. So after initialization, it's able to initialize them, pick this and this and this, but it did not fully initialize this one, right? That's why we are failing. So we have to do it in a post init. So in that case, we can just go back again to our class that we had, which was this class here. This is our book class. And then we're going to define our post init function. So this is going to be underscore post. I think it's post init. I'm not sure, but I hope it's correct. Spelling. Right, so this is the post init that comes with data classes, right? Which is quite useful. I think it's supposed to be post init, right? And then with this post init, we will check and see if this author is a dictionary. So we can say if this instance of the self dot author is a dictionary, right? If that is a dictionary, then we can now unpack it. So self author is going to be my dictionary. So now I can just call the author and I can unpack it. So self dot author. So this is one of the ways, right? So with this option now, we are now going to initialize it variable, right? With this option here. So let's see if, let's call it as a book DC with post init. Yeah, it's a long name, but for future record, perfect. And now let's see if we apply it to work. I'm going to go back again to the same thing we did here, the same data we have, which is nested, the same data. So the data is nested, and then you want to apply it or unpack and initialize them. So we just do the same thing we did. So book with book DC with post init, and then if I go with my number 4 here, it's working. So book 4, consider now it has worked perfectly well. If I go with book 4 dot author dot name, it works. Book 4 dot author, it works. Now book 4 dot author dot age is failing. So the reason it's still failing that the initialization has not been done well. So if it's instance, this is a dictionary, this particular stuff is a dictionary, which is it, I want you to initialize it. So I think I have to return yeah, I think it's correct, but I have to wait, let's check the definition for post init. So post init data classes, I just want to see the name, that's all. Yeah, okay, so this is post init, so it's correct. Yeah, so what you have to do is that you just have to let's make sure that is correct. Okay, I forgot. So it's supposed to be one under, right under, right? So this is how it's supposed to be. That's why it failed. It's post init, and then if I run it, if I come back here, right? So this is supposed to be just one under Sunda, or yeah, Sunda, Danda, Sunda, and Tranda. Okay, perfect. If I go back here, so we have name, author, it works. And now see that this is no more a dictionary, right? This is actually the initialized class. And now I can, since the initialized class, I can now see that it's working. So that is how to unpack a nested data within a data class using the post init, just like you'd have done in Pydantic, right? So in that case, we just get the same stuff we had, and then inside the post init, we check if this particular nested data is a dictionary. If it's a dictionary, then we unpack it, right? And then this time you can, in case there are also quacks and stuff, you can just use the previous method we did earlier on it to help you solve that issue. So that is the secret, right? So the post init is very powerful. That's a very nice feature from data class that allows you to be able to, after initializing, you can do some other activities with your data, right? Very cool. So thank you for watching this tutorial. See you another time. In Pydantic, it's quite simple. You just need to nest it, arrange it well. This is for data class, but with Pydantic, it's quite easy. All you have to do is that you have to nest it in your structure definition, and then that is all, right? You can do anything with it, and you can traverse over it. But with data classes, even after nesting, you have to post initialize it to be able to traverse over it, right? Otherwise it will not work. So thank you for watching this wonderful tutorial. See you another time. Stay blessed. Bye. And check the links below for more.